Hey guys, it's Robin. I don't really know exactly what I'm going to talk about, but I keep getting pushed to make a video, so either keeps being like, just do it. So I'm like, okay, I'll make a video. And then somebody today in my Discord group happened to mention that they're like, go do more adventures. They wanted to see me do more adventures, so I thought I'd do a video and could talk about some stuff. And I'm at a really cute little park, so I thought it's got a bunch of trails and stuff, so I thought I could go walk around. And I wanted to try to do just one long video so I didn't have to put it all together later. I could just post it. So I had to try to decide if I wanted it to point at me or point out, because I'm not good at the video stuff yet, good enough to know how to do that stuff. So I'm just gonna do it towards me, and then I thought when I go out and walk around, I could turn it around and like hold it all the way up, so it's kind of like a GoPro. You guys see what I'm looking at, so I'll do that. But I was kind of thinking, I keep kind of feeling like I should talk about my near-death experience stuff, which was about 2 years ago, and then another little one like last week. But I don't know if I'm gonna talk about that one because I don't want to freak out my mama and stuff. So we'll see. But it was actually really cool, and like I've been really wanting to talk about it, but like I didn't want to freak anybody out or anybody be worried about me and stuff. So I don't know. I'll see. But definitely, I'm thinking I'll talk about the big one a couple years ago that really like set everything off. And then I also was wanting to talk about like how I woke up and stuff, because it was pretty cool. It was like pretty much just like a switch got flicked and it like flung me out into space, and like I just kind of knew everything for a minute, and then like I came back and forgot most of it. But like it as I've gone along, it like kind of unravels, which is kind of how the near-death experience thing was. So like I've been really wanting to talk about all this stuff, but like it's been over 2 years, and so some of it was because of like people that I know and stuff, and so I wasn't sure how much I wanted to share, because I didn't want to like I'll just share like all my stuff and then do my best to kind of, anybody that was, you know, there during any of it, I'll try to kind of leave out and just do my own stuff. But so I don't know, I'll just see what happens and what I talk about. But like, let's see, I'm trying to think of, it's so hard to do like timelines and stuff, because like, especially after I've been doing this for so long, it's like time just doesn't really exist anymore. So that's another thing too, is trying to explain this is really hard, because I have to try to remember the orders it's in. So I'll probably go back and forth. But another crazy thing about the near-death with mine is, so I watched this one podcast. It's called Next Level Soul. Oh, it's so good. You guys should check it out. Maybe I'll post a couple in my, or like them or whatever, so that you can find them in my, I can't think of what it's called, but the playlist things. Put them in some playlists so you guys can check them out. But he does all sorts of people come on and talk about their near-death experiences, and there's so much stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, that and like all this stuff. But like nobody's has been quite like how mine was, because it was like maybe 6 months or so before I actually like almost died. There was like a whole bunch of weird stuff that was happening that would like lining up, like I went on this weird adventure with my like ex-husband now, but at the time I can't remember if we had just got married or were gonna be, I don't remember. Like I said, the timing is weird. But okay, I think I'm gonna go walk and I'll talk about this. There's like so many people here, so I didn't want to get out yet. Oh man, somebody else is pulling it. Okay, I must sit in here and talk for a little bit. I'll go walk around. But yeah, so let's see. I think I'll go back to, all right, so I'll go back a little ways, and because the ex actually had a lot to do with it, so I won't talk about him too much, but we actually met, trying to think about time now, so it would have been, let's see, 2019 is when I actually got the RV, so I think we met like 2018. It was when I had been playing the game. I was really suicidal and stuff, and so while I was playing the game, I also had found a chat site, and me and him started chatting, and like we didn't talk about anything personal. Like we didn't know how old each other was, we didn't know what states or just anything like that. We literally just talked about keeping each other alive, and we'd check in and be like, you still alive? We're like, yeah, you still love you. And so this went on for like a week or two, and then we both just kind of stopped chatting for a little bit. And I ended up kind of getting my stuff all settled. That's when I decided I was going to do the RV and do all that. And so, and then it turned out that he had done a bunch of changing stuff around too. And so we both were in a better spot. And he actually reached out like maybe a week or two before I was going to go on the trip. And we started chatting. And then that's when we realized like how old each other was and that kind of stuff. And we kind of became really good friends because like we kept each other alive, and like he was really young, so like we just went as friends and stuff. But he went on the adventures with me for, okay, there's nobody here, so I'm gonna start going, and I'll probably just not talk for a minute anytime there's peeps around. I got my tennis shoes on and my little backy pack. Ooh, but here, look at this place. Across the street, and then I'll go across and show you guys. There's like a little parky thing, and then like all back in here are trails. I don't know, I'll just kind of go back and forth and try not to fall on my butt. If I do, then I don't know how to cut that stuff out, so you guys will get to see a fun little extra show. So let's not root for me to do that though, please. Anywho's it, so I went and did the whole road trip thing, and did all that. So that's kind of how I met him, knew him, super good buddies. And then life happened and everything. And oh gosh, it was 3 years later-ish or something after that. So let's see, there's 19, 20, 21, what are we in now? 23, so yeah, probably 21-ish. And we stayed friends the whole time during all this. And it was this one day, let's see, there are people around because my weird stuff. I want people to hear my weird stuff. I mean, I guess you guys are, but you're choosing to. Here's a little bench. I'll chill here for a minute. So we chatted for like off and on for a while, and just always would check in, big, how you doing? Always stayed friends. And then we hadn't chatted for like maybe 2-3 months, and usually we'd say hi at least once a month, so it was like kind of weird. But I was, had my RV at one of my friends' house, or the one that took care of my rooster lot for me and stuff, had the RV there at the time. And I would go to Instacart all the time, and it ended up being a Saturday or Sunday, and it was that's my best days for Instacart. And for some reason, I just had this feeling I wasn't supposed to do it that day. And this is the first time that any of this stuff ever happened. And so I didn't. And I ended up, one of my friends had just got a new house with her husband at the time. And I was going to go over, I messaged her and decided I was going to go over and help with the garden. And this was the first time I'd ever driven this way on the freeway. And then you get off way out at the exit I'm not familiar with, because I was way in the valley, and Spokane's huge. She was way out on the other side near Airway Heights. And as I was going, I had Rue with me, and he was in the car, and he was being such a dick. He kept like starting to try to attack me, and then he was crowing a bunch. I was like, what are you doing, buddy? So before I actually pulled in onto the freeway, I put my hand on him real gentle, and I said, buddy, I'm gonna be getting on the freeway. You gotta calm down for me, please. And I took my hand off, and he stood back up and looked at me. I said, so you calm down so that Mama can go on the freeway. And he literally just goes and he goes, boop, 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 boop. And he sat down and went, boop. It got really sweet. I was like, okay, that was really sweet of him. Okay. Anyway, so then I got on the freeway, and as I was going, something just hits me, and it goes, you need to message him. I said his name in my head and stuff too, but I'll leave all that kind of, but it's like, you have to message. And like, that was the first time, like, and the most where I heard it actually like as a voice. Like, it still wasn't quite a voice, but it was like, that was the first time it was like, oh, it for sure was a thing, and it scared me a little bit. So anyway, I was like, okay, so how did I do that? And it goes, pull over here. And I looked up, and it's the exit I'm supposed to get off at anyway. So I pulled off at the exit and got off, and then I was going, and like, as I would think the thoughts, it would answer me with this voice thing. And so anyway, I was going, I was like, okay, now what? It's like, veer off here. And then I'd look at the GPS and it's having me veer off. I'm like, okay. And again, I haven't taken this way before, so I had no idea. I'd never been, I think I'd been to her house, but I went from the way different direction. It had been like weeks before, and I was like with my mom, so I didn't pay attention. So anywho, and then as I got up to the end of it, before I could see around the corner, it said, pull over into the hotel. And I was like, okay. So I went around the corner, and sure enough, there was a hotel. I was like, okay, that's really freaking weird. And as I went to pull in, it said, pull into the only shady spot. And it was weird because there were trees all over this place, but there was only one shady spot. And so I went and pulled into this one shady spot. And I was, like I said, it freaked me out. Like, now this stuff happens all the time. Again, not a voice quite like that, but I'm a little more used to that stuff now, but that was the first time it was really a lot. So anyway, I pulled into the spot, and it told me what to say. And I don't remember exactly what it was and stuff, but the gist of it was, everything's okay, your life's gonna be all right, I'm proud of you, stuff like that. And then I sent it, and he messaged back, and we messaged a little bit back and forth. I went over and did the garden, and I checked once in a while and messaged back and forth. And then like 3 or 4 days later, I found out, so see, this is stuff I'm not sure if I should talk about or not, because it's not mine. So I'm it would have been bad. It would have been really, really bad. And I had messaged right at the moment that it was almost the baddest it could have got. And it was, so it like made sense to me then why I needed to message right then. So anywho, we got chatting more and stuff, and kind of the reason why I got back to traveling again, because for a little bit I had stopped in Spokane for a little while, and because I was checking on my mama and stuff, and then ended up staying there a little while. I kind of stayed, and then I'd go travel and stay and travel. Anyway, I just felt like I really wanted to go visit and see him, because I hadn't seen him for 2 or 3 years, and I thought, well, shit, people could just go anytime at any day. And I'd been real bummed in the spot I was at anyway, and I figured I could do Instacart over there, and I'd been wanting to kind of get away anyway, so I was like, screw it, I'll go drive over there. Whether we hang out or not, I'll do Instacart. And there were so many other things I wanted to see over there. I never got to actually see the Statue of Liberty yet and stuff like that. So I got all these fun plans and decided I was going to go ahead and run over there and hopefully get to say hey. And then whether I did or not, it was like, oh, well. And so we kind of chatted a bit, and I told him about it, and he was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, we'll have to do one of the activities or something. Like, no big deal. We just always been buds. And then, I'd say maybe a week after that happened, and I'd already planned the whole thing, and I'd already let the buddy know that where I was staying, and he was going to watch the rooster for me. I was in my RV, and I was doing my yoga, and I was standing up, and I know I was facing out because I was looking out the window because my butt was towards the couch, because I ended up passing out and then woke up and I was on the couch. So I was doing my yoga, and I had YouTube on, and this next video that came on was about twin flames, and I'm so embarrassed to talk about that because, like, I've never been into that stuff. It came on, and I was gonna switch it, but like, I was all in my zen doing my yoga, and I was like, it's kind of interesting, I'll listen to it. And it was like, how to know if you've met your twin flame, which I'll explain that a little bit too, because like, it's way different from what I thought was now. Like, I have different, I don't know, it's whatever you want it to be, really. But anyway, it explained it, and I thought, holy crap, I think that might be what my friend is, because like, we had like really weird stuff would happen. Like, he's like, was the only person I ever could talk to about the weird spiritually stuff and all that, because like he had really weird stuff too, so we'd like talk about like this kind of stuff, and that was the only person I ever talked about that stuff. And like he would like channel stuff, and like I don't even know if he knows he did it or remembers, but like I'd have like angels would come through him and they'd sit and just talk to me and stuff like that, and it was so much fun. But anyway, when I heard it, I had this thought, and my thought was, wow, if that's real, that means God's real. And when I had this thought, I just blacked out, and like I was out in space. And that's one of my paintings that I did. It's on my Instagram, and I showed it in one of my RV ones. If you want to go look at it, it's just a space one. It's just so pretty. That's my favorite one. It's so special. Anyway, I shot out into space, and I just floated there with God for, it was forever. But when I actually came back into my body, it was like I instantly like pretty much forgot everything except for how much it felt like love and stuff. And while I was up there floating, I knew everything. I knew everything about everybody, always, all the stuff before, after, during, what's gonna, just everything. Everything made sense. Like I just knew everything. And then when I came back, I could understand that the reason I don't remember it all and stuff is just in these avatars or whatever, you couldn't process all that. There's not there, but you still have it, because you're like you're this out here, and then here's your little avatar or whatever. So this is still all you out here. So you still have all that information. And then what it does, and what it's done for me is, since being out there in like space and stuff, I just have all the information now. And so when I need it, it just comes. And it's like I lose other stuff and get it back, which is why I can't super remember stuff very much anymore. Like I just as I need it, I just am like in the moment and do this stuff in the moment, and then it all just kind of works out and stuff. And so anywho, I guess like twin flames and stuff, when I looked it up, and the stuff that you usually look up, the way they explain it is, oh, it's your love, and you go and find them, and like there are ones like that. So like it's whatever you want it to be. So like so however I'm explaining it, however you believe it is true. So if this feels right or not, or you think it's silly, it doesn't matter. The only reason it matters to me is because it's what got me like thinking what the crap and got me thinking. So like whether it's real or not, I don't freaking care. I think it's fun. And so what a lot of people believe, it's one soul with two bodies. So, or like you can look at it as like if you believe in reincarnations, it's like two of those at the same time. So it's just another you. And some people like to be with their other you and stuff, and then other people are soulmates and all that. But like after going all this time, I started thinking about it, like wouldn't we just all be each other's twin flames then? Because like there's the source, the one thing, and then we're all the little things coming out. So like really we're all the same in each other's twin flames. So I don't really know exactly how it works, if people like have an actual soulmate, or if we're all the same, or like maybe all of these ones and all these got split. Like I don't know, but that's the thing that got me wondering and thinking, and the stuff I love to talk about. So like if you guys want to talk about that stuff, let me know. It's super weird and I love it. So anywho, let's go walk for a little bit, and I'll is it pretty out here? There's a lot less people now. Ooh, look at the water over there. I hope you guys can see this okay. Let's see. I have not actually been to this park yet. I keep going by it a whole bunch, and I keep wanting to, but I don't know. I've just been doing other stuff. Let's go walk along this little thingy, see what's... But yeah, you can go all the way up in the trails, and it goes, like when you drive on the road over there, again, I don't know how well you can see it, or if this is focusing, I can't even tell. I'll poke it just in case. I don't know. But yeah, you go drive and you can see all this is way along, and people ride their bikes, and it's really pretty. Oh, looks like there's a gate or something over there. I'll walk around this way. I might not be able to go super far. But anywho, so I ended up going and visited him, and then that was a whole, I don't even know if I should talk about that either. Oh, that's pretty down there. He ended up moving back to Spokane for a little while, and we actually ended up trying dating and all that, and it just didn't work out. Good people and stuff, just it wasn't actually. So that's something I was going to kind of talk about with the twin flame thing and stuff, is whatever it is and all that, like, I don't know, but I think meeting people like that and having those experiences, and like whether they are or not, or if we all are, like, it doesn't really matter. The point is when you have that thought and you meet them and you're thinking about all that stuff, that it gets you thinking. And that's what me and him were, is we weren't supposed to be forever. We were supposed to trigger the shit out of each other and then live through our worstest nightmares in the whole wide world. Like, my worstest nightmare was that I'd meet my one and only, and then they'd like hate me or cheat on me or something, like, and like, he never did nothing that awful. Actually, he didn't really do anything awful. It just was, he just needed to work on himself a lot, and I tried my best to help, and it just kind of got to the point where it was like I couldn't keep helping him. He had to help himself. So, and then I realized that, like, the whole point of knowing him and stuff was, again, so we could trigger the shit out of each other, and like, you know, we both served the purpose of each other's lives. And I think that's with a lot of people. I think when you meet people that are horrible to each other, like, you look back and things that you yourself do that's horrible, and you go, oh my gosh, how could I do that? I think we're just supposed to. We line up with the certain people at the certain time, and it does it to, like, wake you up and teach you stuff, and it's part of the movie, and it just, you know. But anyway, so towards the end of that, the near-death thing, me and him had just got an apartment, and I was going to be using the, like, front part of the apartment to sell all my paintings. I had them all set up, and I had the price tags on when I was opening a store. I'd been, like, advertising it on, like, Facebook Market and stuff, and people would come look and get them. And that whole week, I was just so freaking excited that I just kept drinking coffee and not drinking regular water, and I just was so excited. And let's see, I started like a Saturday or Sunday or Monday or something, and I did this, so probably like 4 or 5 days, and then by like Wednesday I just was feeling awful, and my ex was like, well, have you been drinking water? And I was like, oh, whoopsies. So then I started drinking water. By that point, man, it's gonna be all, there's some traffic. I didn't realize it came out to the street out here. I think it comes back up though. Let me look, and if it does, nah, it just keeps going up. I'm just gonna go back to where that bench was, and I saw some other hills, like, you can climb way up them, which I think would be fun, because the ocean's only like 2 miles away, so I think if I got all the way to the top I could see it, but I'm not sure if I could do it while holding the phone. So maybe I will, and then if I do, I'll do a little video of it post it on my Instagram or something. But anyway, which part was I at? Oh yeah, so the drinking water, freaking A. So, like, I just kept trying to drink water, and I could not keep it down. Every time I would try to drink water, I would just throw it back up. And then because I was so scared, I couldn't sleep. And so I had no sleep, and because I'd been so excited, I was getting everything ready and all that. So I'd had no sleep and no water. And by like Friday or Saturday-ish, I told him, I'm like, please, I think I need to go to the hospital. And he's like, no, you're just dehydrated. You don't go to the hospital for that. And I just kept being like, I really think I should. And he'd been dehydrated a bunch of times too. And so he just kept doing what he was thinking was right and stuff. And it finally got to the point though, I had to. And so I called one of my friends that could drive, because by that point I couldn't drive myself and he didn't have a license. So I called one of my girlfriends, and she ended up coming and getting me and brought me. And they were like, it took them a whole bunch of times trying to get the IV. They ended up having to get a specialist lady to come do the IV. And they said, if I'd waited even like another day, that I probably would have died from it. And that whole time when that was happening, I was like seeing shit. And I just kind of sat there. I keep seeing squirrels and stuff, but they're not out long enough that if I tried to switch it to show you, you wouldn't see them. But moving back at this spot, it's so party. So yeah, what's crazy though, so everybody hears about, like, you see the tunnel and you see all that stuff and all that. What's weird is I did, but not then. Then I was, so during the actual, oh my gosh, there's like a big old heron or something. It's too far away that if I tried to switch you wouldn't be able to see it, but oh, it's beautiful. So that's the kind of stuff I do, is I come sit out here and just all the stuff, it's all so pretty. Anyway. So it was like maybe 2 or 3 months before this actually happened. I was at my mama's house with my ex, and we were just like, let's go on a drive. And it was so weird, because it's like, it wasn't us in like driving our bodies at the time. It was like we were just kind of along for a ride. And I don't know how he feels about this. Like, this is my experience. Like, I tried to talk to him about it later, and he doesn't, like, he remembers going on a fun day, but like all the weird stuff, I'll try to bring it up, and he's just like, no, what are you talking about? So like, this is what I'm talking about, is when I'm talking about this, like, he doesn't know what's up. So like, this is my experience. So anywho, we were driving around, and he was like, let me drive. And so I let him, because he did have his permit thing, because he was working, he was going to get his license, and just had appointment for it, just hadn't got it yet. Anywho, so he started driving. It was so weird, because like, I felt like I was just super like drunk or high, and like I wasn't. So it was like so weird, but I was just like, yeah, let's go drive. And so he was like driving around. It was so weird, because when I was looking around, I was seeing like houses that were like what it looks like in Westport, which is a little beach town in Washington that I'd always go to as a kid. And I kept seeing those houses. It was really weird. And then like I would see people on the side of the street and stuff that were like, man, I haven't remembered this stuff for a while, so it might kind of make me cry. Like, ooh, like I forgot. It's like really bringing me back. Like, I feel like I'm reliving it a little bit. Anyway, I was seeing like people I remembered and stuff on the side, and they'd like wave at me, and I'd be like, that's weird, what are they doing out there? And ooh, it's kind of scared me a little. Anyway, we drove up in the hills, and he looked at me, and for me it looked like he had this like top hat thing on, and like almost like a monocle or weird glasses or something, and like a cigarette in his mouth, and like he didn't, but like that's what I saw, and it was really weird. And I looked at him like, and he looked at me, he goes, I just snagged me a cougar. And like, I was way older than him, and he was way younger, but like that's not something he would ever say. And it was weird, the way he looked at me was just really, really weird. And again, I talked to him, and he's like, I don't remember saying that or doing it. He's like, no. And again, I wasn't like drunk or high or anything. It was just like, oh, this is weird. And so then he kept driving, and the way he was driving, he got on the like freeway towards Idaho. And then out of nowhere, I look up, and we're in a neighborhood that's downtown Spokane. And I was like, what's going on? Why are we in this neighborhood? And he was like, I just took all the right turns. And I was like, but how did we go from going to there to there? And he just like winked at me. I was like, okay. And again, I was looking around at the houses, and like now I'm thinking that like I think I was having like a what's it called, when you like see when you're having a near-death experience and people talk about having a where they see the video of their life. I just can't think of what it's called right now. I think that's what was happening, but like in my real-time life. And like a bunch more weird stuff happened. Just out of nowhere, we decided, let's go drive to Westport, because it was only like 6 or 7 hours, and we'd been kind of playing around. It was weird. We'd done this, it was like maybe noon. So we ran back to my mom's, told her we were going to run to Westport and just look at the beach and then drive back and then just be home late because he had to work the next day. And she was just like, okay, 'cause she knows I do shit like that. So anyway, we drove to Westport, and like the way there wasn't super weird. We got all the way there. But then when we walked around the town, man, it was freaking weird. It was like a ghost town. And like, I've been back there since, and it's not like that. And he saw it too. And like, I think that's stuff he remembers, because like he'd never seen it before. I can't remember if maybe he saw it our first time when we camped the first time. I think I went there in the RV, but like I went to it and it was all flooded, and it was weird. And we walked around and everything was like it was a beautiful day, which was weird too because it was in November, and it was a beautiful, gorgeous day. It was perfect sunshine, and then you walked around and it was all, like I said, like a ghost. It was weird. It was so weird. And then we decided to drive down the coast. Can't remember right. We ended up getting a hotel. Because, there's a little squirrel. I don't know if you can see him or not. Probably not, but we did end up getting a hotel because I guess it must have been like a Saturday, and then we got there Sunday, and we stayed the night, and then we drove back the next day. That must have been what we did, because we ended up driving down to Oregon a little bit too. So we must have ended up doing that, because I remember staying at the hotel. And that's when it got even extra weird. As we drove down, because I knew I was supposed to do this stuff. Like at this point, like it was really weird, because again, it was the first time that kind of stuff happened. And he was like, fine, yeah, I went along with going down. It was really weird. I don't know. It was just like, we didn't really question it. It was just like, yeah, let's go down there. So we drove down, and we got to this town, and we wanted to get a cool little torch for our weed stuff because mine had broke. I'm just saying. Anywho, so it's not like I don't smoke weed. I'm just saying I hadn't, during the, like once we got to safe places, but not like during all that stuff. But anyway, did that. And then by then it was towards the end of the day, because we had stayed at Westport for a while on the beach all day. And so anyway, it was late enough that the sun was going down, because it's November, so it was probably like 5 or 6. But anyway, when we went out on the beach, shoot, I forgot all this stuff too, but as I'm telling you guys, I'm remembering it, and it's just like kind of freaking me out because I'm like reliving it. I went out, and it was like everybody was just like standing out on the beach, just all like lined up on the beach in little rows and stuff. And as we walked out, they all at the same time turned their heads like this real slow, and they all just looked and stared at us, and then watched us as we walked out and looked at the water. And then as we walked back, they watched us walk back. It was really, really weird. It kind of reminded me of, if you've ever seen what's the one with Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan, City of Angels. And they go out, and the angels are all on the beach, and they all sit and can hear the music and stuff. Like, it kind of reminded me of that, but it was creepy too. So I don't know, for the weirdest thing, like the water was way out, just like if there was going to be like a tsunami, how it would go out really far, and everything was eerie, and this mist it was so weird. And we got this from, like, we both just at the same time looked at each other. I was like, we need to go, what's going on. And then the whole time we were leaving, and this was stuff that he did agree, because even he was like, we need to go. As we were driving away, it felt like it was all coming for us. Like, it almost felt like we had to go as fast as we could. And like, I mean, I went normal speed, but like, it felt like there was a tsunami coming, and it like those people were down there like on purpose for it or something. Like that was just the feels I got and stuff. It was so weird, so weird. And then as we were going, it got to be like midnight or something, and we only had a couple more hours to go, because then he was gonna have to work the next morning, and I was getting super tired, and so he ended up driving. And it was so weird, because when he was driving, and again, this was stuff that I brought up later and he don't remember any of it, while he was driving, it was like he was a totally different person again. And he would look at me and he'd like have this top hat on and he'd go, and like he was like being funny and stuff, like treating me like a sidekick and stuff, because like usually I'm the one driving, and so I literally would treat him kind of like the sidekick, because like I was the one driving everything. So I'd be like, you know, can you hand me the water can? But I, you know, I would be kind of a dick about it sometimes. So anyway, he was doing that to me, but he wasn't doing it as himself. Like his like eyes looked different, and like it was really, really weird. And then as we were driving, I don't ever told anybody like this much of this stuff before. Alright, so we're driving, and freaked me out, because after all that, because it was like fun, like we were driving and it felt like we were like playing Mario Kart, and he'd be like go around the cars, and like he was doing it safe and stuff, and then like put his hand out and be like, "Yeah, thank you." It was like just being funny, and like totally not at all the personality that like I knew. Like it was like, what's going on? And like he looked different, like it was like something like embodied him or something, I don't know. And after that gone on for a while, oh my gosh, and then also it was nighttime, and I would see there'd be cars in front of us and around us, and then all of a sudden the lights would be off and they'd be gone, and then I'd see them up above us, and then I'd see down below, and I could like see all different directions and stuff, and I was like going, what's going on? And I'd ask him, I'm like, can you see all that? He'd be like, no, what are you talking about? Because it'd go back and forth, like he would just be him, and then there'd be like this mist person over him, and they'd be talking to me, like it was so weird. And I could see, like I was saying about how a tunnel, it was like I was going through a tunnel, and I could see one above me and one below me, and there were other people going places too, and we were just all on different paths, but like it was all the worlds and all the simulations, I don't know, and I could just see them all. They were like all like this, and I could just see into all of them, and I could tell that if I wanted to, I could get on, like go drive to the right one, but he was driving at the moment. But and then like even though it was nighttime, the like sky started to turn purple, and something like whispered to me and said, that's how you know you're in heaven, is when the sky is purple. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And then at that moment he turned and looked at me, and this weird like scary smile was on his face, and it was almost like somebody had, like it was his face, and it was like somebody had pressed in like this and was coming like off of his face. So it's like he turned and looked at me, but then right over his like a mask or something was this thing looking like this, and it just scared me so much. Pull over. And he was like, then it was him again. He's like, why? And he's like, we only have like a half hour to go, we gotta get back. And I'm like, no dude, pull over, I don't want to do that, this is freaking me out, we can't drive. And like he's like, what are you talking? I told him, and he's like, no, none of that happened, what are you talking about? And I hadn't fallen asleep or anything, like I don't know. So we pulled over and ended up just sleeping in the car, and he was all annoyed at me and stuff because he had to work the next day, but we ended up getting up really early and got him there. But then dude's freaking all night, so he had already passed out and fallen asleep, and all night. And again, like I think at this point we might have smoked some weed, but like I do smoke a lot of weed, and like it doesn't really super affect me. I smoke often enough that it just doesn't do a lot. So like it wasn't from that. Like I've smoked enough that if stuff is gonna happen, it's gonna happen. This was, and like this stuff now happens all the time, whether I've smoked or not. So now it's just normal, but this was the first time this stuff really happened to us. So while he was passed out, totally asleep, I'm laying there on my back, and I can like see little things that they're like on the ceiling talking to me, and then they look like little kitty cats playing, and they're talking and stuff, and like I don't remember a ton of it. but pretty much it just like explained all the stuff of what's gonna happen and like in my own life, and they explained all the fun stuff that's gonna happen, and they're like, ooh, and you meet your soulmate and all your just like everything, which I'm like, but I'm here with him. They're like, nah, don't worry about that. So sorry if he ever sees, he's not gonna watch this, but anyway, I don't mean it in a mean way, it's just what they were telling me. They're like, nope, there's the perfect one and we're gonna hook it all up for you, and so all night long it was super fun. They talked with me and chatted, and they got all my favorite activities and favorite this and favorite that, and we chat. But like then they made it so that I forgot what all my answers were and stuff, so that once I ever got to the point that it would all be like fun and stuff, but it was like all night. So anyway, the next I kind of tried, I think there's a couple people I've tried to tell this stuff to, but everybody just, it's like they don't understand what I'm talking about. So I don't know, this may or may not make, I don't know, I don't know. Anyway, fast forward back to when I'm, you know, dying. Well, all of this stuff, so it was like 2 or 3 months that happened, and then 2 or 3 months go by, and it gets to where I'm dying. So other stuff has happened in between too, and I've seen weird stuff and things and heard stuff, and I'm going, what's going on? So then I get this near-death experience, and all of it came together in like a show. And while I was in the waiting room with my friend, the avatar on the outside, I was crying to her and saying, please watch how my people look, because I knew I was dying. But then on the inside, this video of all of that stuff, plus the stuff that happened over the next 2 or 3 months, and then just whatever else I needed to know, everything was filled in and played as a video to me. And it was like, I went through like people that I did, like things I didn't even remember from way back, like from childhood, and like just literally from the whole everything. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. People would come and we'd meet up, and like I didn't remember who most of the people were. They'd explain like that I'm so and so, you did this bad thing to me, bad thing, or they did this bad thing to me, and then we would sit together and figure out why that happened and what we were, you know. And so that's kind of why I've come to the conclusion about the twin flame. We're all just the same, because like all these people I sat and talked with, and some of the things I remembered, and then some of the things they had to remind me and like show me again, like things from when I was like a little kid on the playground, or just a whole bunches of stuff. Some was really good, some was really bad, but it was all connected. And they showed me all the different reasons of why certain things had to happen, like icky stuff and fun stuff, and why I was mean to somebody or they were mean to me, or why I cut somebody off even though I would never do a thing like that. That was because that person, now they weren't in a spot where they would have got hit, or, you know, just it just showed me all this stuff. And then it also all my like past relatives, they came and like visited me and talked to me and stuff, and showed me a lot. And I got to go meet with my like soul family and stuff, but like I don't remember a lot of it, because it's like I had the choice to remember as much as I wanted. I think but like I chose to not remember too much, because I wanted to all like be a surprise. But like while I'm here, like I remember that that's what I said while there, but now that I'm actually here, it's like, but I want to know more. But like I know that during all that, when I was like, you know, out there, in there, however it works, I don't really know exactly. It's all the same thing at the same time with the dimensions. It's just trying to figure out the words, I guess. But yeah, no, and then since then